Door of Hope Children's Mission says there's been an increase in the number of babies being abandoned. It says it's taken in 7 young ones since the lockdown began. The mission is concerned the situation may be even worse, as reports from other shelters are showing that as many as 30 babies have been given up so far. To discuss this, I'm joined by the mission's Nadene Grabham. Nadene, good morning to you. It's always a very difficult conversation to have, children being abandoned, but there's often more to it than simply abandoning a child, isn't there?
Yes, quite right. I think child abandonment in South Africa is a pandemic already, and the fact that lockdown because of the virus is increasing the amount of babies we are seeing abandoned, as well as children being removed from care because of abuse and neglect, is a big concern for us.
Help someone understand who perhaps can't quite grasp why a mother would want to abandon their baby. Take us through some of the scenarios. We know about lockdown now. I imagine that's due to the economic issues in the country, but take us through what you know about why a mom or a family would abandon a baby.
Yes, Door of Hope has been going for 20 years now, and the biggest reasons that we see babies are being abandoned or given up for adoption, the main reasons I would say is poverty, unemployment, prostitution, drugs, rape is a big influence of child abandonment. And there's also quite a few cases where a lady falls pregnant and she's abandoned herself by the father of the baby.
What sort of support does an organization like yours, and I'm sure there are many that need support, where do you get financial backing? How involved is government in a situation like this? And perhaps, Nadene, a third question, should government be more involved in a time like this?
Yes, I think especially children are our future. I think that the Department of Social Development and more child protection organizations should get involved with giving some relief to these mothers of these babies, to the children. I definitely want to hear a bit of a louder voice from them. We do get funding. A third of our costs, annual costs, are covered by the Department of Social Development. The other 2/3 we have to raise ourselves. So we currently have 71 babies in our care, and that is a big financial burden.
Nadene, it's a massive financial and emotional burden, and I do want to ask the question, perhaps can you give us your website address, or if somebody thinks they can donate or help in any way, I'm sure that'll be helpful. Where can they find you?
It's doorofhope.co.za.
And now I would like to find out, Nadene, with the abandonment of children and babies in particular, why can you tell us that the moms don't instead look for help from a social worker? Why go as far as to simply abandon the baby? Have they just given up all hope altogether?
Yes, I think that is quite a sad state of affairs. I think with regards to ladies abandoning their babies because of rape, I think it's perhaps a lot of embarrassment around that. Teenage pregnancies, they hide, they don't want their families to know, so they see no other way but to abandon the baby. And I think some drugs, obviously, I think the mom doesn't have any care really when it comes to drugs being the cause of abandonment. But I also think it's creating awareness around places like Door of Hope in South Africa. We started our baby box in 1999, and since then there's now about 33 baby boxes all over South Africa. And I think the media and the public need to help us create awareness that there are safe places in South Africa, because especially in the rural areas, I think many women don't know that there are places of safety that they can take their babies to.
I was about to ask you a question around that, and you've answered it for me, Nadene. How can someone find out about these places of safety for both the mother and the children, knowing how unequal access to data and information is in this country? What would you recommend is the way to try and get that message out, especially to the rural areas? How do you begin this?
I think a a good place to start actually will be clinics, hospitals, and police stations. If we can, or homes like Door of Hope can advertise and put posters up and pamphlets at these areas where they could be easily noticeable, I think that would definitely be a big start, especially in the rural areas.
Nadene Grabham, thank you very much indeed. Operations Director of Door of Hope Children's Mission. You can find them online as well, doorofhope.org.za. They certainly need your help with abandoned babies.